like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, so we're diving into something that you share that's been kind of on my mind a lot lately.
Okay.
It's ambition. And specifically, how our ambitions connect to our sense of worth.
Yeah.
You've got this excerpt that really kind of digs into not just how to balance those two things, but how to actually blow past expectations.
Yeah.
We're going to uncover some serious insights.
I think what's so intriguing about this piece is how it pushes us to look beyond just setting like big goals and really examine like if those goals are even realistic given where we are right now.
That's such a good point. I'm super guilty of that, like getting caught up in the excitement of an idea without thinking like, hold on, do I even have the skills for this yet?
Yeah.
The whole concept of capacity versus ambition.
Yeah.
That's something I struggle with.
It's almost like we're trying to build a rocket ship before we've even mastered like the bicycle.
Right.
The source really nails it when it talks about the importance of laying a solid foundation. It's about taking stock of your skills and resources before you even think about like launching into orbit.
It's like that saying, you can't run before you can walk.
Totally.
But how do you know where you stand? Like, how do you even begin to assess your current capabilities?
Well, the excerpt suggests starting with a brutally honest self-assessment.
Ooh.
It's not always fun,
Right.
but it's crucial.
Okay.
Think about your goals. Are they aligned with the skills you have right now?
Okay.
If not, what are those gaps?
So it's not just about identifying the dream. It's about mapping out like the realistic steps to get there.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I want to write a novel that's the big ambitious goal,
Sure.
but maybe right now my capacity is more about mastering short stories first.
Exactly. The excerpt talks about setting intermediate goals.
Okay.
Those smaller milestones that bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be.
Okay.
It's about breaking down that massive ambition into like bite-sized pieces.
This is where I always get tripped up. How do you identify those intermediate goals?
All right.
What questions should you be asking yourself?
The key is to ask yourself, what skills or knowledge do I need to develop to reach my ultimate goal?
Okay.
Then break that down further. What are the specific steps you can take to acquire those skills?
Okay, so it's not just about dreaming big. It's about getting granular and figuring out those smaller, achievable milestones along the way.
Yes.
That makes so much sense.
And those small wins are so important each time you hit one of those intermediate goals.
Yeah.
It builds your confidence and motivates you to keep going.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, this whole idea of self-awareness seems to be like a recurring theme in the excerpts.
Yeah.
What are some concrete ways we can become more self-aware, especially when it comes to our ambitions?
The source actually has this great suggestion. It talks about actively seeking feedback from others. Not just praise, but constructive criticism too. And not just from people who always agree with us.
Right.
It's about getting diverse perspectives.
I'm always a bit terrified of feedback, to be honest.
I understand.
It feels so vulnerable.
Sure.
What does the source say about like getting good feedback?
It emphasizes seeking feedback from people you trust. Mentors, peers, even those who might challenge you a bit.
Yeah.
People who are invested in your growth and will give you honest and insightful feedback.
So it's about finding those people who will be straight with you, even if it's not always what you want to hear,
Right.
but who will also be supportive and help you use that feedback to improve.
Precisely. And it's about learning to receive feedback with an open mind and a willingness to learn. It's not always easy, but it's essential for growth.
All right, so we've talked about getting real with our current capabilities and seeking feedback.
Right.
This all seems to tie back to the idea of a growth mindset, which the source mentions a lot. What does that actually mean in practice?
The source defines it as viewing your abilities as something you can constantly cultivate and expand, not as fixed traits.
Right.
It's about embracing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, not seeing them as threats.
So it's less about I'm good at this or I'm bad at that, and more about I'm always learning and evolving.
Exactly. And it's about understanding that setbacks and failures are not the end of the story. They're valuable lessons that help you grow and improve.
So instead of getting discouraged when something doesn't work out, you see it as a chance to figure out what went wrong, learn from it, and do better next time.
Precisely. The source highlights this powerful idea. Embrace discomfort, for it is the cradle of growth.
Wow, I love that. It's so easy to get complacent, but pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone is where the real magic happens.
Absolutely. And that ties into another crucial point this source makes about ambition.
Okay.
The danger of hubris.
Oh.
It's about recognizing that while confidence is important, overconfidence can lead to blind spots and bad decisions.
Okay, so how do you walk that tightrope between believing in yourself and not getting too cocky?
Right.
Isn't there a danger in being too audacious with our goals? Could that set us up for disappointment?
That's a great question. And the source acknowledges that risk. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, but also being realistic about your capabilities.
So it's about being bold, but also grounded, right? Having that healthy balance of ambition and humility.
Exactly. And that ties back to the importance of self-awareness and feedback.
Mm-hmm.
The more we understand our strengths and weaknesses, the better equipped we are to set realistic goals and avoid the pitfalls of overconfidence.
This is also insightful, but I think we need to pause here for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
We've talked about aligning ambition with capacity, the importance of self-awareness and feedback, the power of a growth mindset, and the dangers of hubris.
It's a lot to absorb, but it's all connected, and it's all essential for building a solid foundation for achieving your goals.
Before we move on to part 2, where we'll explore practical strategies for exceeding expectations, I want to leave you with a question from the source that really resonated with me. It asks, is your ambition fueled by a desire for genuine growth, or is it driven by a need to prove your worth to others? That's something I'm going to be pondering for a while.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I'll be thinking about that too.
Me too.
Welcome back to our deep dive into ambition and worth.
Yes.
Let's shift gears now and get into the practical side of things. How do we actually push past those limitations we might feel and exceed expectations?
This is what I'm most curious about. I think we all have those moments where we hit a wall and think, okay, is this it? Have I reached my limit?
Right.
But the source is all about reframing those limitations as temporary checkpoints, not dead ends.
Absolutely. And it offers some really insightful strategies for breaking through those perceived barriers.
Okay.
One of the key takeaways is this idea of setting audacious but attainable goals.
Okay.
It's about dreaming big, but grounding those dreams in reality.
Yeah. How do you find that sweet spot between I want to rule the world and I can barely get out of bed some mornings?
How do you know if your goal is audacious enough to be motivating but not so out there that it's just setting you up for failure?
The source actually provides a helpful framework for figuring that out.
Oh.
It suggests asking yourself 3 questions.
Okay.
First, does this goal truly excite and inspire you? Second, does it align with your values and long-term vision?
Okay.
And third, is it achievable within a realistic time frame given your current resources and capabilities?
So it's about finding that intersection of passion, purpose, and practicality.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
But even with a well-defined goal, how do you move from dreaming to doing?
Right.
The source keeps mentioning innovation and calculated risks.
Yes.
Those seem pretty crucial for exceeding expectations.
They absolutely are.
Okay.
The source defines innovation as finding new and creative ways to approach challenges, thinking outside the box, and being willing to experiment.
So it's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter, right?
Yeah.
Finding those creative solutions that maybe nobody else has thought of yet. Exactly. And that often means stepping outside your comfort zone, challenging the status quo, and being open to new possibilities.
Okay, let's talk about calculated risks.
Sure.
I think a lot of people, myself included, get a little freaked out by that word risk.
I understand that.
But the source emphasizes that it's not about being reckless. It's about being strategic.
Exactly. The source provides a really interesting analogy.
Okay.
It compares calculated risks to investing in the stock market.
Okay.
You wouldn't just throw all your money into a random company without doing any research, right?
Right.
You'd analyze the company's performance, consider the market trends, and assess the potential risks and rewards.
So it's about making informed decisions based on the best available information.
Yeah.
Not just blindly jumping into the unknown.
Exactly. And the source suggests a few key questions to ask yourself before taking any risk.
Okay.
What's the potential upside? What's the potential downside?
Okay.
And can you mitigate the risks in any way?
I love that it's framing risk as something to be thoughtfully considered.
Right.
Not something to be feared.
Yeah.
It's about empowering yourself to make informed decisions, even when things feel a bit uncertain.
Absolutely. And remember, even with the most careful planning, things don't always go according to plan.
Right.
That's where resilience comes in.
Okay.
The source emphasizes the importance of viewing setbacks as opportunities to learn and adapt, not as failures that define you.
It's about that growth mindset we talked about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Embracing those challenges
Yeah.
and using them as fuel to keep moving forward.
Exactly. And the source also highlights another crucial element for exceeding expectations.
Okay.
Leveraging resources and networks.
Ooh, this is something I struggle with. I tend to be very independent
Okay.
and try to figure everything out on my own.
I hear you.
But the source makes a compelling case for why having a strong network is so essential.
It boils down to this: none of us can achieve greatness in isolation. We all need support, guidance, and access to resources that can help us grow and succeed.
Okay.
That's where your network comes in.
So it's about building a team of people who can offer different perspectives,
Right.
share their knowledge and experience, and even open doors to opportunities you might not have found on your own.
Precisely. The source talks about seeking out mentors who can offer wisdom and guiding collaborators who can bring diverse skills to the table, and peers who can provide support and encouragement along the way.
This is starting to sound less like networking and more like building genuine relationships.
It absolutely is about building authentic connections.
Okay, good.
The source emphasizes that a strong network is built on mutual trust, respect,
Yeah.
and a shared commitment to growth.
So it's not about using people to get ahead,
Right.
but about creating win-win relationships where everyone benefits.
Exactly. It's about collaborating, supporting each other's goals, and celebrating each other's successes.
This is all so eye-opening, but I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier. The idea of reframing limitations as temporary. I love that concept, but it's so easy to get stuck in that feeling of, I can't do this, or this is too hard.
Sure.
How do you actually make that mindset shift?
The source suggests a few powerful techniques.
Okay.
One is to focus on your past successes.
Okay.
Think about times when you overcame challenges that seemed impossible at the time.
So it's about reminding yourself of your own resilience and your ability to grow and adapt.
Yes.
I like that. What else does the source suggest?
It also encourages us to surround ourselves with people who believe in us and support our growth. Remember the importance of networks we talked about earlier.
Right. Yeah.
This is where they become even more crucial.
It's about having those cheerleaders in your corner, the people who remind you of your strengths and encourage you to keep pushing forward even when you doubt yourself.
Exactly. And it's about finding mentors who have already achieved what you aspire to, learning from their experiences and seeing what's possible. Can help you break through your own perceived limitations.
So it's about expanding your horizons and realizing that what might seem impossible today could become your reality tomorrow.
Absolutely. And the source reminds us that this journey of growth and self-discovery is ongoing.
Right.
There's no finish line. It's about continually challenging yourself, learning, evolving, and becoming the best version of yourself.
This has been such an incredible deep dive. We've covered so much ground.
We have.
From aligning our ambition with our capacity to setting audacious goals, embracing innovation and calculated risk, building strong networks, and shattering those self-imposed limitations.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But it all boils down to this: you have the power to shape your own destiny. You are capable of achieving amazing things.
So before we jump into the final part of our deep dive, I want to highlight one last point from the source that really struck me.
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome back to the deep dive as we kind of wrap things up.
Yeah.
I wanted to circle back to something the source touched on that really hit home for me.
Okay.
It's this idea that often we're the ones holding ourselves back.
Yeah.
Not external barriers, but our own internal limits. You know what I mean?
It's so true. The source challenges us to examine those self-imposed limitations.
Right.
And ask ourselves, are they real or just stories we're telling ourselves?
It's like we build these mental cages around what we think we can and cannot do.
Right.
And sometimes those cages are based on fear, past experiences, or even just plain old limiting beliefs.
Yeah. The source uses this great metaphor of a bonsai tree.
Oh.
It has the potential to grow into a towering giant,
Okay.
but it's kept small by the confines of its pot.
Right.
We too can limit our own growth by holding on to beliefs that no longer serve us.
That's such a powerful image. So how do we break free from those self-imposed limitations?
Yeah.
How do we shatter that pot and allow ourselves to grow to our full potential?
The source suggests a few key strategies. One is to challenge those limiting beliefs.
Okay.
When you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this or I'm not good enough,
Right.
ask yourself, is that really true? What evidence do I have to support that belief?
So it's about questioning those negative thoughts and looking for evidence to the contrary. I like that.
Yeah.
What else does this source suggest?
It also encourages us to surround ourselves with people who believe in us
Yeah?
and support our growth. Remember the importance of networks we talked about earlier.
Right.
This is where they become even more crucial.
It's about having those cheerleaders in your corner.
Totally.
The people who remind you of your strengths and encourage you to keep pushing forward even when you doubt yourself.
Exactly. And it's about finding mentors who have already achieved what you aspire to.
Okay.
Learning from their experiences and seeing what's possible
Yeah.
can help you break through your own perceived limitations.
So it's about expanding your horizons and realizing that what might seem impossible today could become your reality tomorrow.
Absolutely. And the source reminds us that this journey of growth and self-discovery is ongoing.
Yes.
There's no finish line. It's about continually challenging yourself, learning, evolving, and becoming the best version of yourself.
This has been such an incredible deep dive.
It has.
We've covered so much ground, from aligning our ambition with our capacity to setting audacious goals, embracing innovation and calculated risks, building strong networks, and shattering those self-imposed limitations.
A lot to think about.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final powerful message from the source.
Okay.
It says, it's time to align your potential with purpose. Rise above self-imposed barriers and chase goals that elevate not just your life, but the lives of others.
So,
Go out there and make your mark on the world. Your worth is growing.
Yeah.
With every step you take toward your ambition. Until next time, keep diving deep.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have the ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.